G'day everyone, welcome back to YJ Garage. I bought a new car. At first I wasn't sure what to get, but I knew it had to be economical, reliable and cheap. It also had to have 4 doors and be an automatic. So I almost bought a Golf GTI, possibly because of nostalgia. I mean, who doesn't miss this? Fortunately for me, 2 examples I was looking at sold before I even got a chance, and so I turned my eyes to this. Present to you, Project Jazzy Jazzy, my daily, probably for an indefinite period of time. This example is the 2010 limited edition model, which comes with alloys, sports grille, Bluetooth, and the 1.5 litre engine. I'm going to cover all the things I needed to do and what you should check when buying a used Honda Jazz. And this one came without a service book, so I've got zero history. I'm changing everything. That air filter definitely needs to be changed. That cabin filter looks like it's never been changed. Transmission fluid, I'm a bit worried about this one, it's looking a bit brown. Transmission plug is magnetic, but it's not looking like it's attracted too much debris, or metal shavings as you call it. Roughly 2.7 litres came out of the transmission, which might suggest it was overfilled, and looking at it here you can see it's quite dark and the consistency of it is not very sticky, suggests it may have been burnt over time. Listening to the engine, this sounds quite normal, maybe a tiny bit of valve clearance tick. Changing the spark plugs, it looks like a good time to change them. Also going to inspect the coil packs. Just going to check the brake fluid there. Make sure it's above the minimum line. I bought this handy brake fluid tester, which tells you how much water is in your brake fluid and if you should change it. Except I can't use it. You can probably pop this off, but going by how the brakes feel, they feel solid throughout the range. There's no sponginess in the pedal, and I gave the cap a wipe and the fluid's looking very clean. Next I'm going to check the coolant in the car because I don't know when it was last changed. This handy little tool will tell me if it's still at an acceptable freezing point. It was a bit difficult to get the coolant into the device. I had to put on an angle like you see here, and I had to draw up a couple of times. It took a few attempts, but eventually got there up to the full line. And as you can see there from the marker, 37 degrees on the dot. That's where we should be looking at. And just make sure you're holding the device straight when you're gauging where everything is. Alright, now for the interior. Looks like my rear seats are a bit loose there. It's an easy fix. One thing that's been bugging me since day dot is every time I get into the car, the floor mats slide like this. And on wet days particularly, that's quite dangerous when jumping into the car. And the rear seats look like they could use some refreshing. So I got a full set online. Look at that. Notice I'm missing a cover here, missing the rear parcel shelf. This rubber trim above one of the windows is loose, and I'm missing a cover on the stereo AUX unit there. And probably the worst thing is I have the dreaded boot leak. Fairly common in the Honda Jazz. Should be an easy fix. Ooh, NK rims. Very cool. Typically it's a very easy fix, but you do want to check that your boot, whether your boot is leaking or not. Make sure you test all your accessories. And one thing I neglected to do was actually check my tire pressure. It's recommended for 32 psi on the front and 30 psi on the rear. And when I checked all 4 tires, they were in the low 20s. And the car was making a lot of screeching sounds when I was turning. And generally the road noise was quite loud as well. It's important to run the right tire pressures, fuel economy, and a handling point of view. Also a good idea to check your tyre tread wear. As you can see there from the indicator, when the tread meets that nub, that means you're running out of tyre. Alright, made those quick few adjustments to the tyres. Now just going to go over some bumps. See, the suspension's quite squeaky. This car's done 190,000 kilometers. Probably to be expected that the suspension is a bit tired and old. You want to make sure that the automatic transmission is also shifting gears smoothly. Keep an eye on the tacho, make sure it's not doing any strange bouncing when you're keeping your foot smooth on the pedal. Also notice my front bumper is hanging quite low from the headlights. Looks kinda like it's been smashed or pushed in. And look at that. Crash bar is rusty and all bent. Not really an issue, but I would fix that rust before it gets any worse. So there you have it, guys. That was the cheapest one I could find with the highest amount of kilometers, and that was everything that was wrong with it. If you found this video helpful, like and subscribe. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.